Hey guys, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for subscribing to the Kingdom Man podcast. I hope that today's topic will be useful, especially in this Christmas season. But I also want to make a note that you may notice from time to time during this episode, it may sound like a machine gun going off. And I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I don't know if it's the Christmas lights or my cell phone or there's some sort of interference going on. So hopefully you can see past that to what we're trying to convey. But I wanted you to know we're not under attack. I'm not sure what the cause is, but I hope you enjoyed the episode nonetheless. Thank you, guys. Welcome to the Kingdom Man podcast, where we discuss some of the hard topics facing men with a Christian perspective. I'm your host, James Russell. Happy to be back with you. And I say that sincerely. I am so happy to be back with you. If you have been following us, you undoubtedly know it's been a little while since we've been able to update and upload a new podcast for you. But finally back at it today. Just a peek behind the curtain. My wife and I live in a pretty tiny house. It's not your traditional tiny house as you may see on documentaries or the Discovery Channel or something like that. But we live in a very, very small footprint of a house, so there's not a whole lot of room for extra things to go in. And at this time of year, being Christmas, there's a whole lot of extra things going around, including decorations and of course lots and lots of gifts, because my wife, her love language is a giver. She loves giving gifts, so we have lots of them to give. So that has kind of taken precedence over the residents, and I haven't had a whole lot of room to actually set up my small little system here to record a podcast. So finally was able to clear a little bit of room and make some time and sit down, and I'm happy to be able to get back and talk about some of the real things that I feel like men need to hear. So hopefully you're out there still enjoying, still there, and still subscribing. And we look forward to giving you more content in the near future, and hopefully not so far in between the next podcast. But let's just focus on what we can control, and that's what we can do today. We can't change the past, and we really don't know what's going to come in the future. All we can do is be in the moment and do the best that we can in that moment. So in this moment here, I'm going to give you the best podcast I possibly can. I've got a few notes that I've written about what I want to go over and discuss with you guys. And at this time of year, I feel like the best thing that we can talk about is giving. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a pretty good wish list that I compile on my Amazon account, and I get to share that with family. So if you don't do that and you have Amazon, you really should consider making a wish list. It makes it so much easier for people to get you something that you actually want instead of things that they think you might want. Undoubtedly, at some point in your life, maybe it was a grandma, because that tends to be the case. They give you things that how would they would imagine that would be something that you want, but they give it to you. And Merry Christmas, it's a moose clock. Where are you going to put a moose clock? I'm not sure, but man, when they were walking through that aisle in Walmart, that just really spoke to them, and they were thinking of you. So congratulations, you have a moose clock. Now, a way to avoid that would be to share with Grandma your Amazon wish list. And of course, I'm not sponsored by Amazon, so maybe I shouldn't be giving them so much of my time here. But it's a good way to let everyone know what you're looking for, what you want, and where they can get it real quickly and easily. But what about things that you can't necessarily write down? There are things that go beyond just things, beyond just merchandise, beyond what you can touch, beyond the tangible. There are things that we all want that we can't necessarily get. So we need to be wise with what we have and do the best that we possibly can in order to make sure that we maximize those moments. And that's what I want to talk about is time. In our society, we tend to glamorize the acquisition of money. And undoubtedly, money, it helps make things a whole lot smoother in most cases. I believe there was a rap song that says something along the lines of "mo money, mo problems." And that's true too. When you have mo money, the IRS wants mo too. But beyond that, I want to talk about what's really true is money can come and go. It can be interchanged. So there are some really good things that you can invest your money in. And I think investing in your family, number one, is probably the best idea. But keep in mind that it's just money. And often it translates into things, and it's just things. Things can be replaced. Money can come and go. What do you have that you are spending that can never come back? And that's your time. I don't think that we're ever going to cross the line where somehow someone invents time travel. I don't think that's going to be possible. Who knows? I'm not in that arena, so I'm not sure how realistically they're thinking that's going to be. However, today I did see in the store one of those mop machines that most people like drive around, except for I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it mops and like sucks up the water all in one little. It's kind of like a store Zamboni, So I saw one of those today in the store that was driving itself. It was beeping ever so often. It had like a little flag, so you would see it coming, and it was kind of creepy. I couldn't believe that happened in this small town that I live. Those things kind of shouldn't be happening in the small town, but somehow in the store it had their own little mop machine driving itself around. I mean, it has a seat for a person to drive. It has a wheel. It's not the iRobot vacuum. This is a big machine. So anyways, I don't think time travel is coming, but I didn't see a self-driving mop machine in the store either. So who knows what may be coming down the line, but I don't see that happening. What we really need to invest is in the moment. Like we were talking about at the beginning. I can't change the past. I can learn from it. It can influence my future. What happens in the past, you carry with you. So you want to make sure that you make good decisions in the moment so that it doesn't affect your future. But more importantly, be in the moment. Invest what you have in what really, truly matters. And again, it's Christmas time. It's the time of year for giving. And what better gift can you give to your family, to your loved ones, than the thing that you cannot get back? They cannot return it. It's the most valuable thing that we all have at our disposal. The way that we choose to spend that time makes all the difference in the world. Now, I'm going to make a confession here. You may think I need to turn in my man card. Whatever. I don't mind a good Hallmark Christmas movie. And by don't mind, I mean I frequently turn Hallmark on to watch some Christmas movies. Go ahead, you can berate me all you want. It's all right. One of the things I see repeatedly in these movies, in fact, they're advertising a title right now where the person wished they had 5 more minutes with their loved one. 5 minutes. Because when we really break down what's more important, it's not about what that loved one could give to us. It's not about what your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, it's not about what they left you. It's about being with them. Spending that time together. And I'm talking about investing time, which is different than spending time. And it's different than wasting time. Because we all know people who waste money. They get it, they blow it immediately. They've got no real value for it other than what they can immediately get out and turn that money into immediate pleasure, gratification, and move on. And then they have to work the rest of the week to get to the weekend. And we know people who spend money, and sometimes you can do that just to try to impress people, but the people who are the wealthiest, and I'm not necessarily talking about what's in the bank account, but the people who really have the kind of life that we want to live, have the kind of relationships that we want to have, those are the people who invest their time. And the way I see investing different than spending is you're deliberately placing your time in an area where you feel like it will benefit the most. Being intentional about where you spend your time. Time is going to be coming out of your account. There's no replenishing it. The only thing that you can do is make sure that you're putting it in an area where it gets the maximum yield. So take a moment, gentlemen. Pause and consider where you put your time. There's an app on your phone that will let you know exactly how much time you're spending and where you're spending that time. And I have a feeling that we spend way more time on our phone rather than investing that into our loved ones, into our family. The next time you go out, go stand in line somewhere and try to find someone who doesn't have a phone in their hand. I know the temptation. I was doing this practice this past week. I stood in a really long line and it wasn't moving very fast. And I had to resist the temptation to pull out my phone and just, amuse myself for a moment because this is going to take a while. But I resisted. Now, was I investing that time in anyone else? No, but I was being present in the moment. And that was something I needed to practice for myself. Because if we constantly just grab our phones and amuse ourselves whenever we get bored or whenever any kind of inconvenience may pop up, whenever there's seemingly wasted time, then it will become too easy to grab our phones again when we shouldn't be. I mean, if you're watching a movie with your kids, you shouldn't be on your phone. We need to be better about investing our time. That may make no difference to your children. They may never really understand that you had to resist some temptation to pick up your phone while they were watching a movie. They had no idea what you were doing during that movie. But if you can put the phone down, get off Facebook, Instagram, whatever you may be looking at, you'll be soaking in the memories instead of passively observing what's going on. Be present. Wasting time on social media, you get really nothing from that. The people that you interact with on there, for the most part, aren't worth your time. Not when you have family sitting right beside you. So my challenge to you is to make sure that you are investing your time wisely. Make the time that you have go beyond just your generation. No one ever leaves this life wishing that they could scroll through Instagram just one more time. But there are lots and lots of people who wish they could have just a little more time with their loved ones. So be a man and invest your time in those that matter. It's the best Christmas gift that you can give. Guys, thanks again for listening to the Kingdom Man podcast as we celebrate this 1 year of putting out episodes and in our attempt to make men better men and kingdom men. We just want to remind you that one of the best ways for you to help the Kingdom Man podcast grow is by sharing. We don't have sponsors. We don't have Patreons. We don't have ways for you to invest financially into this group. Because one of the things that we really want to do is not make money. We want to see men become better men. And the best way that you can help us reach that goal is by sharing it with your friends and family. And that's it. It's simple as that. And the more that you can do that, ultimately, the more men we can affect for the kingdom of God. And it just starts with one person like you sharing the word. So thank you guys so much. We look forward to seeing you next week.